My younger sister, 19, has come to live with me, male 25, during her summer vacation from college. As our parents live overseas, I've sort of been tasked with looking out for her. However, I try not to be overly protective and aim to be a cool older brother rather than a helicopter parent. After all, she is an adult. My sister told our parents that she plans on hanging out with her friends for a few days and that they wouldn't leave our city. Our parents thought it would be perfectly fine and agreed to it. The problem started when my sister told me that she actually planned to go camping with some of her friends, female 19, female 20, and female 20. I was cool with it and asked her to please keep her cell phone on so she could call me if she needed. She said that she and her friends planned on leaving behind all technology as they wanted the fullest experience. I thought this was a bad idea and strongly recommended that at least one of them keep a phone, to which my sister responded, they'd think about it. The day before the planned trip, my sister said they'd be joined by several more people, some of whom she described as a little sketchy. I told her that was a bad idea and that she and her friends should consider uninviting anyone that they thought was sketchy. I also insisted that she take her phone. My sister flat out refused all this and said I was being too controlling. I got annoyed and said that she wasn't going on that trip if she wasn't willing to compromise. She started yelling at me and called our parents, telling them that I was preventing her from seeing her friends. I told them how she planned on going camping with sketchy people, and my parents also refused to let her go. After the call ended, my sister started yelling at me again, saying I was annihilating her social life. Am I the idiot? You're not wrong for being concerned about your sister. I always have my cell phone with me when I leave the house in case of an emergency. However, you are the idiot for thinking you can forbid or prevent your adult sister from doing what she wants. It's even funnier your parents think they can when they live overseas. What's the plan? To lock her in a room with armed guards who will tackle her if she tries to leave? Sister is 19. 19-year-olds often don't have money. They do not have apartments. They often don't have jobs or vehicles. Neither do their friends. Sis may also be a college student, and her parents may be paying. She might like that to continue. Their money, their rules. Fully expect to see the sad story of Sis's disappearance on an investigation discovery show someday. Really, really terrible decision-making skills, even for a 19-year-old. OP is not the idiot. I agree. My wife and I are experienced campers. We like disconnecting. We would be idiots to leave our phones completely at home. What if someone got hurt and needed emergency help? She could get lost in the woods, trip and twist her ankle, cut herself with a knife, burn herself, get food poisoning, and be attacked by a wild animal. All situations where she could need evacuation. No phone, no trip, period. Absolutely all of this. I've backpacked over 2,000 miles continuously. It was the most unplugged I've ever been. Carried a phone and a GPS satellite device for real emergencies, if necessary, the whole time. Don't screw around with the wilderness. Update number 1. Am I the idiot for banning my younger sister from camping? My sis and her friends were supposed to head out last night. However, sis never went. This morning, my sis told me that 2 of her friends who planned to go canceled also. This was because some guy in his 40s, whom they had never met, somehow inserted himself into a group of people going. Apparently, he was invited by someone. This man wanted to be the group's leader and planned to go somewhere more remote than initially agreed upon. He then told my sister's friends that he would hold on to everyone's cell phone so that they could all get the most out of the trip and technology wouldn't interfere. My sis agrees that that was a little creepy, but still says I'm an idiot for snitching on her to mom and dad, even though she was the one who called in the first place. My sister is still dependent financially on our parents and myself to an extent. However, I never once used this to leverage my argument. Regardless of whatever bad decision she may make or fight she may have with our parents, my door is always open to her. As of now, I'm sort of hiding in my room, as my sister is still furious with me. I'll try talking to her once she cools down. Holy moly, that update took a turn. The biggest red flag is reading the update about the random 40-year-old man wanting to go to an even more remote location and hold everyone's phones. This story took a turn from sketchy to heck no real fast. I'm glad some of her friends had the sense to nope out. Sounds like a potentially dangerous situation. Yeah, it was bad enough not taking a cell in general in case someone got hurt, but that update, it screams something horrible's gonna happen. I'm an adult, and I share my location with my mom when I'm out adventuring, just so someone knows roughly where I am if something happens. I still text her when I get home from a party or date. Nice to know someone's looking out for me, even though she lives in a different state. I'm glad you were looking out for her. Yeah, little sister needs to start watching some true crime videos, ASAP. A 40-year-old inserting himself into a group of 19-year-olds with no cell phones in the middle of nowhere? I'm sure the shovels and lime in his car are legit, and the guns are there to protect them from bears. OP, your sister's being entirely juvenile for even being upset with you. I hope this is a memory she eventually grows to cringe at. Update number 2. Am I the idiot for banning my younger sister from camping? I spoke with my sis, and she apologized. She fully agreed that the whole thing became too sketchy. She told me that had she gone, she too would have canceled like her 2 friends when she heard what Creepo had to say. I asked my sis about the friend that agreed to go, and she too canceled after Creepo insisted that she and her boyfriend give him their phones. Creepo then kicked them out of his car, and they ended up Ubering back to town. She told me she's afraid, as Creepo's been calling some of her friends, and she's scared he'll call her. I told her to give me your phone if he calls, and I'll speak with him. I do work in a police department, not a cop though, so I'm sure he'll screw the heck off once I speak with him. Thanks for your advice. My female, nearly adult brother, 31, and sister-in-law, 31, just had a baby boy almost a week ago. They struggled to have children for a while and did IVF to conceive. After they got home from the hospital, I went with the rest of my family to my brother and sister-in-law's house to see the baby. When I held him, my mom said something like, "You're going to be such a good mom. I can't wait for you to have kids." And I just laughed and said I won't have kids. When we left their house, my mom said it was rude for me to say I wouldn't have kids after my brother and sister-in-law went through so much trouble to have their baby. But I've told my mom multiple times that I don't want kids, so she shouldn't have brought it up at all if she thought it would offend them. I think she only commented about me being a good mom because she always tries to convince me to have kids. She tells me that I'm probably going to change my mind about it, that I'm never going to find a husband because most men want kids, and just straight up says, "You have to have kids." My brother and sister-in-law didn't seem offended by my comment. I think my mom was just offended by them. And I don't think it's a bad thing to not want children and to tell people that. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. You didn't say you hated kids, or babies are smelly, or people who have kids are terrible to the environment, or really any one of those dozens of things you could say that would be offensive. You just don't want kids. Fine. Your mom is offended because she wants you to have kids and you don't want them. Well, she doesn't get to control that decision. So that sucks for her, I guess. But why is your mother so hung up about her 17-year-old wanting kids anyway? You're still a child. Mom wants a do-over baby. I wonder if she has a good relationship with daughter-in-law. I'm guessing daughter-in-law isn't a doormat and won't let mother-in-law play mama. Good Lord. We need to stop getting offended when people make different life choices than us. And your mom needs to take a chill pill. She wasn't offended by them. She used them as an excuse to get mad at you for calling out her BS. You are absolutely right. If it's such a touchy topic for them, why would she bring it up in front of them, knowing you don't want kids? Also, I know many people of all genders who don't want children. Your mom is sorely misinformed about, for lack of a better word, breeding norms in humankind now. I am a recently new homeowner who just moved into my home last year. My driveway is gravel, And if you're not familiar with gravel driveways, during the spring and summer months, you have to spray them regularly with grass killer to keep your driveway from becoming an extension of your lawn. I've been doing this about weekly since I moved in, and it's been keeping my driveway in good condition. I noticed immediately when I moved in that the neighborhood kids would use my driveway as a cut-through to get to their friends' houses. My driveway backs up to another neighbor's backyard on another street, and it's essentially a shortcut. I have no issue with the kids doing this, but I was a bit peeved that the parents didn't even ask me when I moved in, as a courtesy. It's clear they've been doing this for a while with the previous owners, but it would have been respectful of them to make sure it's okay with me to continue. But whatever, no harm, no foul, until today. I sprayed my driveway as usual earlier this afternoon. As I was finishing up, the kids cut through. I stopped spraying while they were there, waved hello, and resumed once they had cleared the area. Thought that was the end of it, but I just got off the phone with a very angry mother of one of the kids. She told me I had no right to be spraying my driveway with harsh chemicals when there were children in the vicinity. I told her I've been doing this for nearly a year now, and I must maintain my property. I respectfully and politely informed her that if she has an issue with her kids being exposed to the chemicals, then they can find another way to their friend's house that doesn't involve cutting through my driveway. That's when she really doubled down and dared to tell me that her kids have been using my driveway as a cut-through for much longer than I've lived in the home, and I have no right to come in and change the status quo. I then said that I have no issue with her kids using the driveway, but unless she wants to purchase the home from me and start paying my mortgage, she has no right to tell me what I can and cannot spray on my driveway. Then hung up. I fear now that I've made an enemy of my neighbors, and it's about to get worse, and I regret not simply apologizing and sucking it up. So, am I the idiot for spraying my driveway and refusing to stop when asked by a neighbor? And now you know why the last owner sold. Not the idiot. But if one of those kids slips and hurts themselves on your property, you could face legal problems. This woman seems to be the kind who would take you to court over this. Put up a fence so no one can cut through your yard. Good fences make good neighbors. Suburban moms are crazy. It's weed killer, not child killer, and it's your driveway. Maybe you made an enemy, but she sounds like the kind of person who the only way to be friends with them is complete capitulation to all their ridiculous views and whims. Given how unreasonable she's being, there's a fair chance she's a known issue in the neighborhood. My uncle thinks it's funny to get me to run back and forth between the pool and the kitchen, getting him drinks. He'll say he wants a Coke, then claims he asked for a beer, then asks where his Coke is. He usually blames it on us darn millennials, always being on our phones and not paying attention. For whatever reason, my parents don't tell him to screw off. It started getting old a long time ago, and I usually dealt with it by making myself scarce when he was over. He was visiting over Memorial Day, and he caught me. He asked for a Coke, so I brought him a Coke. Then he said he asked for a beer, so I pulled out my phone and played the video I had recorded of him asking for a Coke. Like most of us darn millennials, I was on my phone when he asked, and I knew what was coming, so I recorded his request. He asked me for a beer because that's what he really wanted, so I told him I'd be happy to get him a beer after he finished his drink, because unlike his boomer generation, I don't waste stuff for the fun of it. He got huffy because he was just joking around. The next time he asked me for a drink, my phone was in my pocket, so I pulled it out and said I didn't remember what he asked for. Could he please repeat himself? He said he'd just get his own drinks. I told him that was a great idea. My parents think I was a jerk being rude to a guest and my elder. I thought I was just making sure he got what he asked for. Am I the idiot? Not the idiot. Your uncle sounds insufferable. He enjoys having a joke at someone else's expense, but you played him at his own game and won. Nice one, OP. However, I would have stopped bringing him drinks after so many similar incidents. The fact that he got annoyed when you proved him wrong with the recordings just shows how much of an idiot he is in this situation. Some folks have weird ideas of what's funny, cute, or entertaining. when what they are, especially family, are rude, boring, and irritating. The family especially knows how to push our buttons. Of course they do. They installed them. $50 on OP being a woman. As a Latino person, my first thought was, tell me you're a girl from a Hispanic family without telling me you're from a Hispanic family. OP, depending on a house's layout, you could head towards the drinks, then just go elsewhere and do something else. If he comes looking for his drink, insist he never asked you for anything, what will he do? Say you're being an idiot child? He can get his own drinks. My boyfriend has been going through a divorce for the last 6 months. It would be over already, but his ex-wife won't agree to what he's offering her, even though he's being more than generous, considering they were only married for 2 years, and the bulk of what they have is because of what he had pre-marriage or what his family helped them buy. On top of that, he pays for everything right now, and she's just spending his money like it's unlimited on stupid stuff like luxury vacations. It bothers me because we're expecting. I feel like she's trying to sabotage our financial future and uses her son as an excuse so nobody calls her out. Unfortunately, his family has loved her since they started dating as teens. They asked my boyfriend about her in front of me because she's not responded to them, and they want to see the son. The conversation turned to the divorce, and his dad scolded him and told him not to make it hard on her, even though my boyfriend had done everything to make it easy for her. I wanted to defend him, so I mentioned how my boyfriend has been kind to her, and she's money hungry, which is why she isn't making it easy for him. The mood immediately changed, and his family was giving me rude looks. They all think she isn't like that, but she's just good at playing the victim around people. They defended her, so I defended my boyfriend, but he told me to stop. Now he's mad at me, since whenever I say anything bad about her, they start giving him a lot of crap. He told me not to speak about her ever again, especially not in front of his family. And I overheard his sister saying she couldn't believe he was still with me while on the phone with my boyfriend after this happened. Am I the idiot? You are the idiot. You say our future as if his money's already yours, and yet you're accusing the ex of being money hungry. These talks should be between him and his lawyer, not you. And FYI, his parents asking to see their grandkids and talking to their son about it is normal. If you can't handle it now, you're in for a long, hard life. Don't get pregnant with a man that's not even divorced if you don't want to deal with the divorce. It's as simple as that. Also, OP says they were only married 2 years, but within 6 months of dating, it's totally a good idea for her to get pregnant. I feel like a giant eye roll should have been added. Geez, girl, he ain't a quality guy if he isn't even divorced before getting the next one pregnant. What is it they say? Let the ink dry first on the divorce papers. Or, she's been dating him for longer than they've been going through a divorce. I smell a homewrecker. Oh, honey, even if you upgraded yourself to the girlfriend status, you have 0.0 say in his money. She is still the wife, with probably sound custody of his son. Let him get divorced, get married, and then you can go back in the talk. I agree. Let me come home, wreck your family, and then get mad. I can't just have everything. So they've just decided to divorce in the last 6 months. And boom, here you are, pregnant. Think I found the reason for the divorce. And she has a kid with him? You sound jealous and bitter. I hope she takes him for all he's got. LMAO. If my spouse and father of my child cheated on me and got the affair partner pregnant, I would absolutely take luxury vacations on their dime and get as much out of the divorce as possible. In the words of Lucille Bluth, good for her.